But yeah, they're trying to finger Rambo or fingerprint him.
Take 2.
So they were trying to fingerprint. Damn it!
I'm dying.
So they were booking him.
Does have a good runtime.
Yeah.
90 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
In and out.
No meat.
Yeah.
Or no
Wait,
filler.
yeah,
All meat,
fine.
no filler. Like, this movie's got no meat on its bones.
It fucking sucks.
No fat. No meat.
We are on the road today. And where are we at right now?
An undisclosed location.
Yeah. Another one of
Deep in the wastelands.
one of our many Buddy Boys bunkers. The Triple B. And this is Buddy Shotz Podcast, episode number 73.
From Parts Unknown.
Where Ultimate Warrior's from. And this is Mike Week.
Mike Week.
So, how have you been?
Good.
Good, man.
I'm excited for this week because it very well could have been Matt Week.
It could have been.
It
felt
pick.
like it. That's how it felt like last week.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll go ahead and just get started here. How does that look on my face, I wonder? I can't look. I guess we'll find out in the edit. Okay.
We'll find out anyway.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go off to our first segment. Nerd News.
Nerd News.
So what do you have?
I've got a lot to get to this week. I've got a real quick nerd news that sucks.
You're fine.
They're making a prequel to It, a series.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of shocking. I didn't know about that.
Like, how much can they mine from one book?
Yeah.
Like, there's been 2 sets of movies.
Right.
And now they're going to do a prequel to, like, Before the Clown. So basically,
Yeah.
like, nothing of interest.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't done, like, a TV series or something. You know what I mean? How they do the, like...
Well, the first one was a TV movie.
Right, but it wasn't
2-night
like...
event.
Hey, it's on, like, HBO or whatever, like, series kind of bullshit.
Enough's enough with It. Like, the last one failed massively. Like, the first part was good, and then they choked on applesauce on the second part.
They choked on shit for It.
So I just couldn't believe that. It's like, the writers were celebrating the first day with, like, putting red balloons in their office. I'm like, this is gonna fail.
What do you mean? Oh, they were celebrating when they found out they were making a prequel?
Well, on their first day of work,
okay.
They're like, woohoo, we're kicking it off. And I'm like, don't. Stop.
They're like, we're kicking it off with the money.
I just couldn't believe that. What do you got?
We've got, we've talked about this, but they're making a Duke Nukem movie, which...
We were just talking about how outrageous that would be if it ever happened, and then it did happen.
And it's like, hey, the people
week.
that are making Cobra Kai are making Duke Nukem. And I was like, what the...
They'll deliver, man. I've got high hopes.
Oh, it's just like, I'm kind of like, what the... I guess, yeah, it's like we were talking about like how that... It's like, what we say we were like...
You were making a joke. Like, that would be like if someone stupidly made a Duke Nukem movie.
Yeah.
And then the next week I was reading the news. Like,
because nobody knows who the fuck that is. So,
or cares.
Yeah. I mean, we'll like it, but
only if they have John St. John.
Yeah, seriously. Like they're gonna do a live action one and he plays the character. Hell yeah.
He insults you on it like he did in the cameo.
Jesus. He was like, "You suck, idiot." I was like, "Cool.
Happy birthday."
Fuck you. And then the other piece of news I have here is that Bruce Campbell is gonna write like a mini series for DC Comics. It's Sergeant Rock versus like the Army of the Dead. So it's
Sergeant
like
Rock.
I don't know. It's like some character that I guess they're bringing back. It used to just be like a war hero, kind of like a, you know, back when they would make like war comics like a long time ago. But I guess he's like bringing it, like wanting to like do a thing where he's like writing it from like the perspective of going up against like zombies or something. And I was like, that might be something to look into. Maybe we'll see. But it comes out like the first issue comes out September, so
That's cool.
I think that's really all I have. Oh, except for linking into this week, they just released the newest teaser trailer for the Sylvester Stallone crime series from the creators of Yellowstone. So
yeah,
that could be
that came
sweet.
out of nowhere. I didn't even know that was happening until the trailer came out, and I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing to hear about.
Stallone and Prestige TV.
In Prestige. Hell yeah. So that's all the nerd news that's worth telling this week. Before we move on, any buddies or recommendations?
I have 2 recommendation nations this week.
Oh shit, dude.
One of which I'll talk about now, and one will tie into Rambo.
Okay. To Rainbow?
Rainbow, the movie.
LJN.
Because it's time for a recommendation nation.
I was like, will he do it?
Ding, ding, ding. So we've talked about it in the past, but I finally saw a new Michael Bay movie, Ambulance.
Oh yeah, is that the one where he's like, watch your ass?
No, he was promoting it, and he's like, these real stunts in it are awesome. Now there's some CGI in it. The CGI is shit. His own movie that just came out.
It's like, what?
But I saw it.
Talking about his own movie, talking shit.
And it's one of the greatest action movies ever made.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The best thing about it is like it's non-stop action and like shootouts and a chase scene basically, but he has become the master of utilizing the drone in action scenes. Like there's so much cool drone footage in this. Like the drone will be like flying along with the cars, and like cars will ramp over the drone camera and stuff.
Yeah.
And like there'll just be shots of like the drone going through like the skyline, and then it's like and like flies down, and there's like a chase happening right below it. I'm like, dude, this is so awesome.
It's like, whose perspective is that?
It doesn't. Michael Bay's crazy perspective, but it just like pumps up the action and makes it more exciting. I loved it, and it's really cool because the plot is basically there's a bank heist led by Jake Gyllenhaal and like his brother, and they it goes wrong and like almost everyone gets killed. And there's a cop that gets shot, and he's in the back of an ambulance, and they hijack the ambulance. And basically, all the cops are chasing them in the ambulance.
Because, like, they have a cop with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so they're the bad guys, but they're all still working together to, like, save the guy's life. So at one point, like, Jake Gyllenhaal, like, starts giving blood to the cop because he's about to die. And, like, they basically kind of pause the chase to help, like, do surgery and stuff on the cop. And it's, like... It's a feel-good... It's just a great premise.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was amazing. Ambulance. Great action movie.
Yeah, you're going to have to be a fan of action.
Yeah.
So
it may not be up your alley, because it's like pure action.
At all. So probably not.
Oh, also, it's funny because like characters in the movie talk about like The Rock, the movie, and Bad Boys and stuff. It's like...
What? So in this universe, like...
He's stroking his own ego.
Yeah.
Like...
He's stroking his own cock.
Exactly.
He's stroking his own.
I lost my pen. Oh, there it is.
Where's my
Where's
pen?
my keys? There they are.
Okay, so we'll go. I guess whenever we'll come to your other recommendation later.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the weird watches for this week.
Weird
watches. So, yeah, so this one is something else I picked called Demon Slayer, which is an animated... I don't know what the fuck you would call this. I guess I'll just read the thing here. A 26-episode anime television series adaptation of a manga. So this is... it follows the main character, Tanjiro, who strives to become a demon slayer after his family was slaughtered and his younger sister was turned into a demon. I'd only heard about this through like hearsay, so I didn't really have any hopes for this. I just thought it, it's like one of those things where you're like, a bunch of people raving about it, so you're like, oh, this might be really good. So, I didn't really have any hopes either way. So,
so since you had no hopes, what were your thoughts?
So I thought like the art style, like the way that like the animation was ridiculous. I thought it was really, really good. Like I was like, I could tell that they put a lot of time into it and stuff, which was really good. Like as far as that goes,
I I agree. I thought it looked really nice, but like the animation was kind of choppy, and maybe that's just like comparing it to Roger Rabbit from last week. It didn't feel as polished, or like the look of it felt polished, but like the actions felt a little choppy to me. But that's.
I felt like the biggest issue with this was like, I think anybody that's not used to this kind of stuff, like I think I was coming at it from somebody who was used to this kind of stuff, but since I've seen so much of it, it was like the whole inner monologue of someone talking about something was kind of like
that drove me nuts. He's like,
you mean at like
I'm
the end or
right
whatever?
Now. Yeah. And then not only are they like describing talking through everything that happens, but like then they're recapping like, you just ran at me.
Inner monologue of speeches was a little too much in my opinion.
It was way too much,
and
it kind of ruined the show for me. Honestly, I hate to say.
Yeah, it was weird because like I've seen so many of these now, like these kinds of shows, that it's like when I see something that like. I'm like, dude, this is just like a ripoff of other shit I've seen. Like, I'll bet it's in a different vein. It's like, you know, a demon slayer instead of like a ninja or some shit. But it's like the same shit where it's like, it's like the Sherlock Holmes kind of thing from the movies, but not in a good way. It's like he does something ridiculous, and the guy's like, he was using that axe to. He knew he could never kill me, so he used an axe to try to hit me and kill me after he got knocked out. And I'm like,
yeah, okay,
like, you know. And then he goes on this whole tirade in his head about how this kid is something else. He's a prodigy. How did, you know? It's like that. As I've seen it so many times, and it's like,
if it wasn't for the narration, this episode would have been like 3 minutes long because like hardly anything happens. It's just him describing like what happens and what's about to happen and what just happened.
Yeah, I mean, stuff does happen, but the problem is it's like this wasn't a very good first episode in my opinion. Like I was sad to see, like I thought this would like hook me, but solid. It was, I feel like, and I also found out later that this was originally released, like the first 5 episodes were released as a movie in theaters. So maybe as a whole movie it would be better, but like
maybe they stretched it for TV.
Yeah. Because it was like when I saw like this, it was like, this is like just the beginning. Like this was just kind of like, you get like the first little hook of something at the very end of the first episode. And even that, it's like, okay, well, what the fuck is going on here? Like they didn't really do shit. It was like.
I was cracking up at the beginning because like I always love in movies when they establish like, this family's so perfect and loving, you know, nothing bad will ever happen. Like they parody that in Walk Hard.
Yeah,
the little brother's like, today's such a good day for me to think about how long my life's gonna be. Like I know nothing horrible will ever happen today, and like they're all slaughtered hours later.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's like the family. It's like. His whole family comes home the next day and they're all dead. And it's like super graphic and shit, which I knew this was I told you, this was going to be violent. I kind of expected it to be more violent, if that makes sense. Like I thought there was going to be more action for the first episode, but it was kind of like, I don't know. I honestly thought this first episode was going to be like an hour, but when I saw it was 22 minutes, I was like, this isn't going to be enough time to do shit. And, I don't know. I guess if you could say anything, it's like, I liked the animation and it seemed like they put some time into that, but like, and like the main character seems to be like a nice person because he like helps people out in the village, but, he has this weird thing where he can smell stuff, which
like a super smell.
Yeah, but they don't really like explain what the fuck that's about. Yeah, but like you said, it's like it's super telegraphed that what's going to happen.
Which is fine. It was funny.
Yeah, and then she becomes a demon.
She's a demon.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had a thing here that says
it's got some potential.
Yeah, I thought it was
interesting to see if it gets
like
better.
An interesting idea, but like you said, it was kind of like it was just too.
That narration was rough.
Well, I think it was set up too much for me. Like I thought it was going to be way better than it was, and like when I started watching it, I was just like, this is just kind of like all the other shit I've seen, and it didn't really blow me away. So I guess maybe I thought from, if people were saying this or that about something, I thought, well, this will be way better because of, but it wasn't horrible. It was just kind of like pretty predictable. So
yeah,
I wanted to watch it. So I guess that's one thing I don't have to worry about now.
That's true.
So
there's too much other good stuff about there. Yeah. Mediocre doesn't make the cut anymore.
Yeah, is that so true?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I'll be watching it anymore. You're like, I will right now.
Like, I've watched every episode. I loved it.
You're like, I'm a real. Let me go up here and see what this is called. I'm a real Kimetsu no Yaiba fan.
I'm like, Kimetsu, yes, Yaiba.
Give me the Yaiba. Okay, so I think we've talked about this enough.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the main event for this week.
But before we get there,
oh shit,
I've prepared a little bonus.
You look, I prepared another speech.
I put together my top 5 favorite Stallone movies.
Oh shit, okay.
But when I was doing it, I was like, I can't do this. I can't limit it to just 5. So I have a top 10.
Well, then I couldn't limit it to that.
So I have a top million.
I'm like, dude, this fucking shit's never gonna end.
This is in order.
Okay.
10 to 1. Number 10, Over the Top. The arm wrestling movie. Where he's like, anytime he wants to go over the top, he's like,
yeah, he's
spin that cap around.
Spin that cap.
Number 9. This,
Do you have a picture of...
Yeah, because I wrote down the notes on my other notebook.
Oh, that's great.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Nice.
It's like a legendary flop,
yeah.
But I actually think it's good and funny. Number 8, Cliffhanger. We talked about it last week. Yeah. Great movie. Number 7, Judge Dredd.
Nice.
Also, I think like lampooned, but I think it's really good. I like it anyway. Number 6, Demolition Man. See our previous episode.
Yeah.
Where we loved it. Number 5, Cobra.
Okay, nice.
You ever seen Cobra?
No.
Where he plays Marion Cobretti. It's probably his most over-the-top, ridiculous movie.
Even more over the top than over the top.
Yeah. And he kills like probably 100 people in that movie. It's non-stop killing. And he's a cop. Number 4, speaking of cops, Copland.
Damn, dude.
Great movie, and it's like one of his first, one of his fewer, very serious roles. Mm-hmm. And he's great in that. Number 3, Tango and Cash.
Nice.
Classic movie. Number 2, First Blood.
Oh, shit.
Number 1, Rocky.
Nice. Which one?
The original
one? Okay. So none of the other Rockies or Rambos made the list?
No, none of them. Those are great too. Well, most of them are. So
he had to push them off. But he didn't pull them off. Nice,
Why are
man.
You pushing me.
That's a solid list.
Yeah, man.
Out of all
Love Stallone.
I think, I always talk shit about Seagal, but I'll never talk shit about Stallone because he's actually talented.
He's amazing.
He also has, chemistry, just like Schwarzenegger. I've always been a fan of both of them. And I've started to get more appreciation for Van Damme over the years.
Me too.
So this week, we're talking about Rambo First Blood. Your number two pick. I picked this because I've never seen it before. So
That's
I was
so awesome.
pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked it. This was the second R-rated movie I ever saw. So
nice.
I saw it a long time ago. Terminator 1.
Over the top. It's like, man. Nice,
Under the bottom.
Under the bottom. So, I'm pretty sure most people know, but this movie, I'm like, most people know. This was co-written by Sylvester Stallone, and came out in '82. And it stars John Rambo as Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone, this is the first time he plays John Rambo, a character that becomes iconic.
Yep.
But it co-stars Richard Crenna as Rambo's mentor. Mantar?
It is I, Mentar.
Sam Trautman and Brian Dennehy as Sheriff Will Teasle. So it's like we said, first installment in the Rambo franchise, followed by Rambo First Blood Part 2, the most convoluted dog shit. Which I didn't know till I watched this, but this is based on a novel that came out in 1972. And I guess they've been trying to make it into a film like for a long time. So, but this is about Rambo, who is a troubled and misunderstood Vietnam veteran who must rely on his combat and survival skills when a series of brutal events result in him having to survive a massive manhunt. I don't know why I'm laughing, that's not funny. By police and government troops near the small town of Hope, Washington. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so this spawned a franchise consisting of 4 sequels, co-written and starring Stallone, an animated television series, a comic book series, a novel series, several video games, and an Indian remakes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the animated series either until I was researching this week. So.
Yeah.
What do you think I did? I added it to the weird watch list. We'll watch that at some point.
Nice. If I would have known, I would have picked that instead of the other one. But before we get started, I want to talk about these taglines and get your thoughts on them.
All right.
So these are taglines that were used at some point in the lifespan of this first film to advertise it. So we've got one war against one man. We've got
decent.
Yeah, he just wanted something to eat.
Terrible.
Yeah.
He just wanted something to eat.
He never fought a battle he couldn't win. The film that started the legend of Rambo. It's like, okay,
that couldn't have been the tagline when it first came out.
No, I think these are ones that were used over the course.
Gotcha.
So, like, I think when it came back to,
It's like
when it first came out, it's like
Remo Williams. The adventure begins.
Yeah, it's like
and ends with the first movie.
It's like
they failed.
This time he's fighting for his life, which makes no sense because he was fighting for his life in Vietnam.
They showed it.
Yeah.
And we got a couple winners and a couple losers.
The last one, a one-man war. Yeah. This time he's fighting for his life.
Because in Vietnam, the stakes didn't matter. What?
He's being like waterboarded and tortured and fed like rat feces, and he's like, fuck this.
And he's just like, it's a long road, and it's easy as hell.
Oh, man. So
what'd you think of First Blood?
I thought this movie fucking kicked ass.
Yeah, it's so good.
So yeah, I thought this movie was really, really good.
It's got everything I want in a movie, like great acting, great writing, great movie stars, action,
great movie stars,
like great movie stars.
That's an awesome runtime.
It does have a good runtime.
Yeah,
90 minutes, man.
Yeah,
short and sweet,
in and out.
no meat.
Yeah,
or no filler. Yeah, all meat, no filler. Like this movie's got no meat on its bones.
It fucking sucks.
No fat. No meat.
I was like,
it's been a long day.
I think that's a bad, yeah. So we start this film off, and we've got a young Sylvester Stallone who walks close to the frame and smiles. That smile will soon disappear. So his friend
Will Teasle doesn't tease. That should be the tagline.
He's like, stolen valor.
Stallone valor.
But his friend Delmar died from cancer because he brought it back from Nam. All that orange stuff they spread around was fucked up, man. I was like, instantly, it's like his like kind of like, I don't know, perception and everything starts to like go down, and it's like, okay, that's just the first little bit. I love
how he's in his career, Stallone's career, he's like establishing this brand new character while also Rocky 3 came out the same year, so he's like at the height of his superstar power.
Yeah.
And like creating another legendary character that would like spawn another series.
Well, the funny thing about this is like
who can do that?
When I was watching it, I mistakenly thought this came out in like the 70s and was like,
it feels like a 70s movie.
Yeah, and I was like,
plus he's still really young looking. So.
Yeah, and I was like, this can't be when he, I didn't even think about Rocky. I was like, this must be like one of his first films because he's acting like, he's not like, because most movie stars like will get like full of themselves and you can tell on the screen and shit. But, like, he's not like that at all. He, like, acts like this is, like,
Yeah, totally. But that does kind of happen 2 years later because he did Rambo 2 and Rocky 4, which are both, like, very much over the top.
Ridiculous, yeah. I mean, this is the only one out of all the franchise where it's, like, from what I've seen, it seems to be the most grounded with just... And it actually has, like, a psychological thing and stuff, and it's actually got a story that isn't just straight-up ridiculousness.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, his first confrontation here is, like, he gets shit on because he's, like, wearing a flag on his jacket. And I guess... I don't really understand that. I guess that was, like, obviously there was people that were against the war, but, like...
The treatment of veterans was abominable. I think maybe it's gotten a little better.
I had to
over
look
the
it
years.
up, but I didn't really understand it at first because I've never heard of anybody recently that was treated like shit because they were a soldier.
Yeah, I think that as a nation we've gotten a little bit better with that from the Vietnam days because they were like spit on, like he said.
Yeah, I think like Vietnam and all that stuff, like Vietnam and Korea, both those wars like were wars that the American people. It wasn't like World War II where like the shit was the world was at stake, so they were like you were saying, it was a war that like none of the American people wanted. So they were like, once they came back, it's like the same stupid people that blame actors, like Daisy Ridley, for fucking not being a fan of their character.
Exactly. So that leads into my second recommendation, Nation, because I just happened to watch another movie this week called The Best Years of Our Lives from 1946.
Is that? No, maybe that's not.
It's a movie about 3 World War II veterans who
Okay.
return home and like how they adapt to life after the
Like
war.
after the war, yeah.
And it's a great movie. It won Best Picture and like won a bunch of Oscars back when it came out. But the most interesting part is one of the veterans is a guy who like lost his hands and he has hooks for hands.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it's a real guy who actually, like the actor, got his hands blown off in the war. And he like, it's a great character because he wants to be like treated like not seen as handicapped and like being able to do everything that anyone else can do. But so like this is a very touching movie from that aspect. But the really cool thing is the Academy like awarded him an honorary Oscar for like giving hope to veterans who are like disabled and stuff.
Legit, yeah.
Because like, that's the way they were going to honor him, but he was nominated for an Oscar, and he actually won. Mm-hmm. So it's the only time anyone's won 2 Oscars for one movie for playing the same role.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So
like they were like, well, this guy's probably not going to win, so let's just make sure we give him an Oscar anyway. And then he won anyway, and they were like, oh.
And everyone was like, this is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, great movie, loved it, and
nice.
It kind of tied in with Rambo a little bit.
Yeah, that's legit. Yeah. I have to like check it out because I never heard of it before.
Yeah, I remember reading about it back in the day, and it's been on my list for quite a while, and just happened to watch it this week. So.
Nice. It's fucking sweet. We've got fucking Stolen Valor picking on John Rambo, this police guy. Fucking Teasle.
So what'd you think of Brian Dennehy and Teasle?
Yeah, it was like it was a shit show. It was like, what's wrong with this asshole?
He's those kind of villains that we always talk about where like he treats you like that like this guy's no good, but like he's polite and like seems friendly at first, and then he switches instantly to like
he's got like a power trip because he's.
It also was scary because it made me think like, man, back in the day there was no internet, like there was no body cams, like cops could get away with whatever they wanted. I'm sure stuff like this happened like daily,
right? Because everybody in the town is like, hey, how you doing? And treat he's nice to everybody, but then this random drifter comes through the town and all he wants is to just be left alone, and he treats him like shit and like drives him out of town. It's like, okay, why? Like, what an asshole.
I love the line so much when Rambo's like, "Why are you pushing me?"
Yeah.
You like, you don't want to push him. I'm like, dude, it's on, man.
It's essentially like, why are you being a butthole to me? Or not a butthole. What a jerk. But yeah, they're trying to finger Rambo or fingerprint him.
Take two.
So they were trying to fingerprint. Damn it!
I'm dying.
So they were booking him, and it was a shit show because he's like they're trying to hold.
I love how he's fighting back. He's just like not letting him.
Yeah.
He's not fighting too hard, but just like hard enough so they can fingerprint him.
Yeah.
One of the cops was a young David Caruso.
I actually wrote that down. David Caruso as a
red-haired
youth Mitch of CSI Miami fame.
He like puts on his glasses.
Yeah. It was weird because he played the one police officer in the entire precinct that
he was kind of questioning.
Yeah, was like, this is bullshit because they like start beating his ass for no reason, and then they're like turn the fire hose on him because they're like, you smell, you stink, time for a bath. And they're treating him like a fucking animal and shit, and like
they start beating the hell out of him.
Yeah, they take off his clothes and they're like, they see that he has all these scars, and that's when the character, like the whatever his name is, David Caruso is like, we need to get like the doctor, the what's it called, the person that deals with like psychological shit up here, and he's like, fuck that, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want. Because there's another guy that's like, this guy's like, I don't know, like sidekick. He's like fucking, I don't know, the sheriff of Nottingham.
The older cop.
Yeah, he's like a
who's
bastard.
Like smoked a million cigarettes.
Yeah.
And his voice is like the deepest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That guy's an evil bastard.
And then they're trying to like, they bring out the straight razor and try to give him a fucking, for some reason they shave him. I don't know why the fuck they like were forcing him to be shaved.
Shave him dry.
Yeah, they were shaving his face.
Have you ever shaved with a straight razor?
No.
Me neither.
I
always wanted to try it once just to see what
I thought that I don't know, every time I think about it, I'm like, dude, it'd just be so easy to cut yourself to ribbons with something like that.
Like slice my own throat and die.
Yeah. But like that's he starts having flashbacks like hardcore to like them stabbing him and shit like that when he's being tortured.
Those flashbacks were very disturbing to me when I saw him as a kid. I was like, good lord, man.
Yeah. That's
horrible.
Yeah.
Because he's like screaming. That's really
and he has like a beard and shit.
Yeah.
Well, that was
a Fu Manchu.
Yeah. But then he just goes apeshit and he just kicks everybody's ass and just
drew first blood.
Yeah, escapes from the police station on I don't know what the hell
dirt bike.
Yeah, dirt bike. I was gonna say a moped.
It's a great dirt bike chase.
Yeah,
I love that scene. It's very cool.
And he gets some fucking air, and so does the car.
Yeah,
that's when awesome. I'm like, okay. I looked under the car for the little thing they use to make sparks.
Oh,
the little spark. I forget what it's called, but
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like because whenever I remember from all these movies we've watched, they. And some of them behind the scenes, they talk about like, hey, if there's ever sparks in the bottom of a car, it's always done by like a little practical thing, but I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he gets some air, and then they go off road, and for some reason, the police officer that's chasing him just drives his car off the road. Like it just, he's like, and I'm like, why?
Stuff.
Yeah. Rambo goes off in the wilderness and he starts cutting up a tarp, but he's not kicking it.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, and he made a poncho from it, which yeah.
So once he goes into full Rambo mode, like in the woods, it made me think like he's an awesome character because he's like the ultimate soldier and survivor. Yeah. But it's also like a pitiful character because he's not a human anymore. Yeah. He turns into basically an animal.
Right.
Or like a robot. Because he's been programmed to just, do what it takes to survive. And it's like, man, this is a complicated character.
Essentially, like, all of the characters that are big nowadays, like, owe a huge like thing to like Terminator and to like this character Rambo and like Sylvester Stallone and all this stuff, because there's so many characters. Like, you look at like a lot of the stuff straight ripped from like this like Metal Gear Solid and all these other characters that are like you know what I mean, the survivalist and that kind of stuff. Like you said, like programmed to be like just a machine.
Yep.
And the only thing it wants, it needs to do is just survive. But there's a bunch of chasing and shit, and then there's some cliff antics here.
There's also a great line. There's so many great lines in this movie, but where one of the cops says, "We ain't hunting him, he's hunting us." I was like, dude, it's on now. So good.
It's like...
What'd you think of the cliff antics? That's a pretty exciting scene.
Yeah, he jumps off the cliff to a tree, and that was like fucked up. And then
it reminded me of that Jackie Chan stunt that went horribly. That's like his worst injury, when he jumped onto a tree like that.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Like when I saw it, because I was like, when this was filmed, there was no CG, so this is, from what I presume, this was real shit. Or something. Yeah,
there's some real stunts going on, and there's real Stallone like at the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
You could almost say he's a cliffhanger.
He gets to the bottom, though, by hook or by crook. And he throws like a rock at this helicopter, which I guess the way we rewind a little bit, and the older asshole, like Sheriff of Nottingham guy is like he's like even more of an asshole than the main
He's
guy.
more unhinged than Teasle.
Yeah, because he's like
trying to murder.
Yeah, he's shooting him and all this shit, and with like this rifle, and he's in a helicopter with this other guy, and the other guy's like, didn't even really want to do this. It's just the police were pushing their weight around and being like, if you don't get your ass down here, then you're gonna go to jail. It's like, Jesus.
Even Teasle's like, dude, tone it down a notch. Like, you can't just kill him.
But he's like, he was like on the radio, like, nobody shoot him, nobody, and he's shooting him, and then he just grabs a rock and he throws it at the helicopter, and like the helicopter just kind of wobbles and like flies a little bit away, because like the helicopter pilot's fine, but like this fat guy Galt like falls out. He falls out of the helicopter and like hits his head and dies.
Deadsville.
Yeah, and it's like
the one casualty, or the one body count in this movie,
right?
Like he had it coming,
which is ridiculous, because it's like
by the fourth movie, like thousands of people.
It's like celebrated.
Munched.
Yeah, this is like one guy dies and it's like, holy shit. I put down here that like he falls to his death. It was obviously deserved, but like overall, I felt it was kind of anticlimactic for how much of a bastard that guy was treating him. But at the same time, like you said, this was the first film and there was no other kills really, so it was like, if this had happened, I put like, if this had happened later in the Rambo franchise, he'd be like burned alive or beheaded or something.
Dude, in Rambo 3, he shoots a guy with a bow and arrow that has a bomb on it, so he gets like arrowed and then explodes.
Well, that one that we watched, he shoots a guy with a bow and it goes through one eye socket and out the other, which is like, what?
Dude, in the last Rambo movie, he cuts a guy's heart out. Like, literally pulls his heart out. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like Temple of Doom style. He turns into a demon.
There are some other kills, though, but they're not human. He kills some evil dogs. Or, well, I guess they're not evil. Off-screen.
Vicious dogs.
But, like, thank God, it's... I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff, but it was off-screen, so you can be like, okay, well, at least they didn't show it.
He had no choice, man.
That's
kill
true.
or be killed.
He's like, kill me. And then they have a thing where it's storming, and then like next scene it was clear. I was like, wait a minute. And then Rambo starts to kind of take them out Predator style, one by one. Rambo stabs Mitch.
I love how the rest of these cops are depicted as like such pussies.
Yeah.
Like,
I would be flipping out too. I think that's the thing, because it's like they're used to small town life, and it's like when they're in the woods being hunted, it's like, okay, well, this is above anything these guys are used to. Also, one of the stupidest lines ever is when the main guy's like, spread out. And I'm like,
spread out so you can take us one by one.
Right. Yeah. I also had a note here. Speaking of which, why did they never do a Rambo and Predator film?
Dude, don't push them.
Don't push them.
That's another great line from this movie.
Don't push the Predator.
Don't push it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Yeah. Police chief starts crying after that line, which I thought that was actually pretty legit because later on, I don't think they talk about it in this, but maybe they do. But in the book, they talk about how he was in the war too, but he wasn't in the same war. He was in the Korean War.
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned that in the movie.
Because I looked this up and it's like they don't really say why he hates him as much, other than like he's just pushing around his like authority. But in the book, it's a lot different. It's like he's like Rambo's more of an asshole, but like they also explain that like the reason why he's kind of hates Rambo is because the Vietnam War got more sympathy, and or at least it's fresh in their mind, and everybody forgot about like the Korean War. So like he's like kind of like pissed and stuff. Anyway, so we've got the state police involved now, and then Colonel Trautman shows up, and that was awesome.
So good. Richard Crenna.
And he shows up. They're like, he's like, you know, what the hell, you know, God made Rambo or something like that, and he's like, or what kind of
God
that
would make Rambo?
Yeah, and then he's like, God didn't make Rambo, I did. And it's like, good lord, dude. Rambo kills a boar, and then he brings back like fake food. It's
boar
like,
meat.
Yeah, it's like some weird looking shit.
Did you remember that Richard Crenna plays basically the same role in Hot Shots Part 2?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
love
actually
that so
one of the things on there that was like talking about.
He's so funny in that because he Leslie Nielsen's it, like he plays it totally straight, and it's hilarious.
That's like the best way to do comedy, I feel like, for the most part. That's why the Mel Gibson ones work so well. A lot of people play like their roles straight and stuff.
Mel Gibson.
Or
Mel Brooks? I was like, wait a minute.
I was like, did I fuck up? I did. Kobe leader to Raven. Rambo wakes up with a start upon hearing this. It's like, it's something he's heard many times, and it's like drilled into him. So when he heard it, he was like, what the fuck? And that's when he says, they drew first blood. They drew first blood. I think they humanized the character more in this too, because like he comes upon like a random kid hunting, but he like lets him live because he's not like out to really kill anybody. And then we have like the National Guard, like Proud Boys.
That scene is like it turns into a full comedy for like a minute.
Yeah,
because they're like totally inept.
Yeah.
Like, get the rocket launcher.
Yeah, the amount of blind fire in the forest was ridiculous. I was like, somehow they didn't hit anybody.
I thought that was a good scene.
They not only got out a rocket launcher, but they like actually, it's like a working one, and they fire it into the mine, and it's like,
and they're like, woohoo!
Yeah, they're like, give that man a cigar.
We just killed.
Yeah. Rambo, though, is stuck in here and he can't see anything, but he makes a cool torch from a knife and ripped cloth, which I was like, you know, he kind of uses the torch to find out where airflow is coming from. And as he's walking, there's like random rats that are crawling on him, and he's like freaking the fuck out. I don't think I've ever, he's like,
wouldn't you be?
I don't know, rats don't really freak me out.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like,
good thing Indiana Jones' father wasn't there.
That's true. He would be like, hey. I do have a lot.
You saw that rat in New York City and you weren't fazed by it, but the one dude who saw it was like, yo!
Because it jumped on his leg.
That thing was huge.
Yeah, it was. It was like a dog. He was ratting like a dog.
It was like Splinter style.
Yeah. He gets up and he's like... So I have no idea how Stallone got through this without burning himself, because there's many times where the flames are like
He probably did, but he's a
Yeah.
badass. He doesn't care.
He's a bass. And then he finally gets out of the caves. Always like fucking freak me out, dude. Like I've never been a fan of this kind of stuff, but not that like this freaked me out, but like anything that's like, you know, the story where someone doesn't get out of a cave, I'm like, I'm not watching that shit. That's stupid. But he gets out, and when he pops his head out, there's like soldiers everywhere still. So he's like, Then he jumps onto a Jeep, and he says, drive. And I'm like, he's already fucking driving the car.
Just wanted to reinforce it.
And then Rambo says a line that's one of the only funny lines in the movie, thing that's supposed to be like actually funny or whatever. He says, don't look at me, look at the road. That's how accidents happen.
I love that.
I was like, I don't know, it was just so funny that I was almost like, I wonder if that was written in by like Stallone or somebody, because it just seemed like a off the cuff kind of comment.
That's how accidents happen. It's a nice touch.
I did notice that the other army truck in the convoy in front of him just at one point disappears. It's no longer there. He pushes a police car that's trying to like get him into another car on the side of the road, and it just blows up. I was like,
it's a cool
shit.
action scene. For
yeah.
Sure.
So finally he comes to this gas station, and he runs over the gas pumps, and he just lights the whole thing on fire, because he like throws like I guess, I don't know if it's a match or something on it, and then the whole thing just kind of goes up. And it essentially, just kind of like creates like a big diversion and stuff. This might have been something back in the 80s or something, but like maybe some places still have it, like the sheriff's place or the police place. But like the sheriff has like a loudspeaker he could tap into, and he addresses all the townsfolk. So I
like,
guess,
get off the street.
Yeah.
Rambo's coming.
He's like, Rambo's coming.
Rambo's coming. There's a Rambo on the loose. He's a freak.
He's like, but we've got some cool stuff coming up here. This is like the climax of the film. He knocks out the lights, and then he like lights up a gun store that, I guess this is in 82, so they stocked black powder, which
he was like, there's so much black powder and gasoline and like ammo that would have been like a nuclear explosion.
I was like, what the fuck? Why is this a thing? And essentially, like, the whole showdown with like the main bad guy is not really a showdown. It's like he gets below him and shoots him in the leg, like from when he's on the roof, and he falls through the skylight, and Trautman comes in and stops Rambo, like, from killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, like, you know, ruining his life, even though I guess it's kind of fucked at this point. But and then like the last scenes of this is like fucking the greatest acting.
I agree. It's so like powerful.
Yeah.
I think some people criticize it, which we can talk about, but I love it. It just like blows me away every time I see it, and like it's very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, even if you don't, I would say watch this film, but even if you don't, you should watch this like end part, because it's essentially a man.
He's totally
finally
he's
breaking
broken.
down.
Yeah.
Completely after he's kind of been surviving for so, you know, on the run and all this stuff, and then when he finally survives all this, and then like he knows he's gonna be at least fine, because his friend Trautman, like his general guy from the war, is like, you know, not gonna kill him and stuff. Like, they're gonna take him to like essentially like jail in the army. Like, he just kind of like starts breaking down and talking about all this horrible shit that happened, and he didn't want to, you know, he's like, I didn't want to go to war, like, you know, I didn't start this shit, and I just wanted to live my life. He's like, nobody will give me a job, and, you know, back in the army, I was like, I had friends, and all of them are dead now, and it's like, he's just talking about how his life is pretty much shit ever since he's left, and even when he was there, it was like, horrible shit happened there too. And it's just it's pretty fucked up, But like Matt said,
Can't find your legs.
Yeah.
Where are your legs?
You
got no fucking legs.
It's pretty ridiculous, and then not ridiculous, but it's pretty like powerful stuff. And then like he just breaks down and he starts to cry.
Yeah, I think that there's lots of like stars who wouldn't like act this vulnerable, or make themselves act like so vulnerable.
Well, yeah, not only for that, but like he's like essentially like reaching out for like Trautman, and he actually goes over to him and he lets him like hug him, and you know, it's like to not only the main actor to do that, but like this guy that's supposed to be like a high ranking guy to essentially be like, you know, I'm gonna treat you like a friend and like give, you know, like he needed to cry and he just like let him do it. And it's like that's what put it over the top for me. I was just like, you know, and then so they take him out and they lead him out. I don't even know if he was in handcuffs. I think at that point he just knew he was, you know, they knew he wasn't going to leave, but they're leaving, and they have an end credits song here.
It's a long road. It sounds like a, I don't know, it's very
like a
mellow,
folksy kind of deal. Yeah, it's a long road when you're on your own, and it hurts when they tear your dreams apart, and every new town just seems to bring you down. Trying to find peace of mind can break your heart.
This is back when songs were like about what happened in the movie. I
It's
love that so much.
Yeah, I do too. It's a real war right outside your front door. I tell you, out where they'll kill you. You could use a friend. It's like, Jesus, because the road is long and each step is only the beginning. No breaks, just heartaches. Oh man, is anybody winning?
Oh man.
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that, and then like,
it's a long road and it's hard as hell. That's my favorite line.
Yeah, tell me what you do to survive. When they draw first blood, that's just the start of it. Day and night, you gotta fight to keep alive. Like you said, it's literally like it's recapping the film.
It's a cool song.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
but the line "Is anybody winning?" reminded me of Charlie Sheen. Winning.
Winning. So did you know about the ending of the book, or the original ending of this movie?
Mm-mm.
Rambo commits suicide. It's like way darker.
Good God.
And there's rumors that like they actually shot that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's really true or not, but that was the original ending.
And the person that's been playing him all these years is a clone.
A ghost.
Because he actually killed himself. No, that's pretty...
I'm glad they didn't go that route.
I could see it.
The ending is fine how it is, plus it leads to a over-the-top insane series.
Right, yeah.
This.
I could totally see them doing that. It would have been like way more... downbeat, but also more impactful. But not like this wasn't impactful, but it was like, holy shit. That character was right there, though.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Did you read Roger Ebert's review?
No.
He liked it. He gave it 3 stars. I think he loved it, but he didn't like the ending. He thought there was too much action and explosions, and he didn't like the speech. He thought that like it was too obvious the things that he said didn't need to be said, which I don't think I agree with. But
yeah,
and I also think he just hates explosions. But I think he
got scared.
He was kind of like how we were with Rolling Thunder. Remember that? How we were like, the first part of the movie is so interesting, like it could have just been that the whole time.
Yeah.
Instead of like having the action shootout at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of his take about Rambo.
Well, he was wrong, so fuck him.
There you have it.
Yeah, I mean, in a movie like this, I mean, like, he's lucky he got what he got with the ending. Like, getting any sort of resolution with talking. With action, sometimes it's like there is no actual character development. It's usually just explosions and shit. Mm-hmm. So, like, for them to actually have a scene, because the real climax of this film isn't the fucking fight. It's him breaking down and talking to Trautman and stuff. Like, it was hardly.
Those are some emotional
he didn't
fireworks.
even. Yeah, he didn't even. He didn't even actually have a fight with anybody, because with Trautman, or not Trautman, but like the other guy, it was like the guy stood no chance. So it was like he could have killed him whenever he wanted. Mm-hmm. If anything, I think.
And he didn't kill any of the cops, although he could have.
Right.
He just mutilated them.
It's like he pulled back They pulled back the action, if anything. Like you said, he could have... I'm pretty sure, I think the book was probably way worse, so it was like,
Yeah, like if he thought that about that, wait till he gets to Rambo 3, where like him and Trautman are like back to back, like shooting machine guns and stuff.
And that one what we saw in the theaters where he like shoots into a van full of dudes and they just turn to jello.
They turn into Mr. E.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus. So we kind of talked about the plot of Teasle and him in the book and stuff, because there's some trivia or whatever, but Stallone refers to this character as kind of a Frankenstein's monster, only the monster wasn't created by a mad scientist. It was created by America. I was like, yeah, that's... I mean...
Yeah.
Because it's like that character's like a character that didn't do anything wrong. He's just, let's see here. Here's... Is this the... Oh, yeah, here's some of the weird...
Oh, no.
Weirdly worded stuff. Some of the funniest stuff. In spite of the fact that the air and water temperatures during filming were extremely cold, and he wore only a tank top during most of the movie, Sylvester Stallone did not get sick until someone offered him a shot of brandy. I'm like, what? See, first of all, it's like, how would anybody even know that? It makes no sense. But it's like, I love the way this stuff's worded. It's so stupid. While shooting on the mossy cliff that Rambo does end up going over, Stallone was concerned about slipping on the wet surface. The production solution for the concern was tying a rope around his ankles so they could, as Stallone puts it, retrieve the body. He says he knew he was in trouble when he looked around the set and saw everyone else tied to trees. It's like, okay.
So they just tied a rope around his ankle but didn't tie it to anything else? It's like a loose rope. They were tied to trees.
I didn't understand that. It was like... This is probably the stupidest piece of trivia of all time because it's... I just put it under what I deem useless trivia. In the book, the cave Rambo enters was filled with bats, but in the film, instead of bats, the cave is filled with rats.
Why?
Which is like, why did the person writing this trivia put anything after in the book? It's filled with the bats. He put, but in the film, it's like, dude, we watched the fucking film. We know it's filled with rats. Ridiculous.
That's really stupid.
Yeah. Stupid, useless trivia. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about this film?
Are you excited to watch the sequel? First Blood Part 2?
Hell yeah.
The premise is amazing because this time they go back to Vietnam and Rambo says, do we get to win this time, sir?
Says this time it's anything but personal. What do you give this film?
9.95. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have to agree. Second week in a row.
I would say perfect movie. Like it's great.
Yeah. 9.95 as well for me.
Nice.
Second week in a row for perfects.
Wow.
That's never happened.
Can we make it 3?
I guess we'll see. Next week is Matt week, right? So
Matt week.
Let me write this down real quick here. So, for weird watches, what are you selecting?
So, I'm a big fan of, like, weird shows where people turn into other things, like Manimal and My Mother the Car.
Yeah.
And I think I found something even crazier.
Okay.
Puchinsky.
What?
Puchinsky.
Okay. Puchinsky.
Where I think Peter Boyle turns into a dog and solves crimes. So we'll see.
Yeah, like, and for feature presentation, the Tim Allen Shaggy Dog movie. Oh, damn it.
For the feature presentation, there's nothing that aligns with Puchinsky, but I know I'm always guilty of picking, like, guy movies or movies that are about dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go a more female-centric route this time.
Ah.
With the Wachowski siblings' first movie, Bound.
Bound, okay.
Which, have you seen it?
I've never heard of this film, I don't think.
I hope you like it because it's also a film noir.
Oh, okay. Well.
I know you're a fan of those.
Yeah, hopefully I will like it then.
Yeah. It's bound to be good.
Hopefully. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say here.
Nothing is over!
I'm like... Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope. I think we nailed it once again.
Yeah, for sure. I guess until next time, everybody, check us out every Monday when the edits go up. This will be up probably either, well, if you're watching this, it's already up.
Or is it? You be the judge.
So every Monday, usually. This might go up Tuesday, but check us out, SteakBone164 on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you have anything else to say to the audience?
Just one more thing.
What?
Bye.